This film was made with no intention of making a third movie after this one.
They know you're here and they're coming for you now.
Have you seen the other ending?
Which other ending?
There's two endings.
There's two endings!
Alexander Strasse.
30 minutes under the world clock.
Send her alone. Give her your phone.
What if I can't find her?
It's easy.
She's standing right next to you.
Active FM. Radio has never been better.
What is up?
Hey, how's it going?
This is the movie show.
Right here on Active FM.
I'm Sash.
My name's Ryan.
And we are continuing with our Matt Damon marathon / Bourne trilogy. Not trilogy. Bourne franchise.
Yes.
We're doing like a double marathon here. That's what it is. It's a double marathon because we're doing a Matt Damon marathon.
Right.
And we're doing a Bourne franchise marathon.
Yes.
This is gangster. We are gay.
We have double indentment.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so we are doing the Bourne Supremacy, which is the second film in the Bourne franchise. So that was made in 2004. It's actually slightly shorter than the first film.
Yep.
The first film was 1 hour 56-7 minutes. This one is 1 hour 48 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, still an action thriller. But the director has changed. It is no longer the Doug Liman that is doing it. It is now Paul Greengrass.
You know, every time they mentioned his name, I'm like, did Greengrass do a good job?
Like what?
What?
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of green grass in the movie, but...
There really wasn't a lot of green grass in the movie, if you think about it. Yeah, okay, and then the cast, it was sort of the same. So obviously Matt Damon reprises his role.
Yeah.
You have Julia Stiles, who reprises her role. You have Frank... Oh, yes, you have Franca Potenta. I think that's still... I still don't know how you pronounce her surname. She reprised her role. And then you have a new character who was Pamela Landy, and that's played by Joanne Allen. And then was Carl Urban in the first one? No, he was that hectic Russian dude that was just like out to kill everyone.
Oh, no.
He wasn't in the first one, right?
I don't think so.
Then Brian Cox obviously reprises his role. Yep. And yeah, there was other people that came. Oh, and you know what was interesting? Michelle Monaghan plays Kim, but I don't know if you recognized her, Ryan. She's the chick. She's the love interest in Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
But it was quite interesting because now she's just got like one of those back agents, like very small role. Yeah, it was like, oh, look who it is. So now we know what she was doing in her spare time when she wasn't with Ethan Hunt.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
Yeah. So, Ryan, in your opinion, which did you prefer more? The first one, the second one, or was it like a building block for you? Or what are your thoughts?
The thing is that I enjoyed this film because of the first one. Because the first one was like a character building kind of thing.
Yeah, set up the story.
Where this one was not the same as the first one, because this one was more like, now we see exactly who Jason Bourne is. Like the assassin dude.
I get what you're saying.
We see like the assassin guy.
Yeah. I suppose it's all... Can I just say, I knew the chick was going to die.
Really?
Like when it started, I was like...
shocked.
No.
I'm like, what? No, wait,
I don't know why. I was just like, she's gonna die.
I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you letting her go? Just... No, what?
Yes, and then the way he just like let her... But she probably... she was dead.
He's just hanging.
She really was dead.
It's just like... in the water.
But she was dead, right?
I know, but you know, when you love someone, you
you pull them out of the...
pull them out and you...
you know, creative...
And you're like, come on.
Creative differences...
Come on. And then someone has to come and be like, Jason, it's fine, let it
Who's
go.
someone going to be? He doesn't know anyone.
No. Why? But it wasn't. It was just bloop.
Yeah, and then she like slowly like...
But it was quick and it was so sudden. Like...
I knew she was going to die. I don't know why. I was just like, this chick ain't going to make it to the fifth one. She's not. She is not.
I almost get a feeling that the other director didn't want to kill her off. And so Mr. Grass was like, don't worry, I'll do the job. Because I mean, like within the first like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
it was done. So sudden. It's like, okay, now that we got her out the way.
I honestly hate it though, because I feel like it is a cliche in this type of film genre. I must be quite honest.
So soon though.
No, it's you know, Ryan, you haven't watched the.
Think of the way the last one ended. Like him and her getting back together. Was this like?
You know why I'm not shocked? Because there's a recent film that just did it as well, and it freaked me out.
Gone. That's it. You're like, huh? But it was good though, because I like that, because like I said,
no, I think it's a cliche, because I was watching, okay, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a recent movie, because Ryan hasn't watched it yet, there's a recent movie that came out, and also the chick was in, but she wasn't in like, you know when you can see by her screen time that they're not putting a lot of emphasis on her, and then I was just sitting there, I'm like, they're going to do it, they're actually going to kill, and they did it, and I was so mad when they did it. I was just like, because they almost make it like I understand the guy's in a dangerous situation, but like, why do all the films have to be the same? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like all of the films that have like it. Yeah. I was just. So when it happened for me, I wasn't shocked. I was just like, I knew that was gonna happen.
I wasn't expecting it.
It's probably
So
because
shocked.
but it's probably because of the recent experience I had with that other movie. I think before then I would have been a little bit more. That recent movie freaked me out. It literally freaked me out. Yeah.
So you kind of had fear of
what I'd already
main
experienced.
character love interest die.
Yep.
A phobia.
Yep.
Although that's
I think I do have that phobia.
I'm right. There you go.
Death
of main character love interest phobia.
Oh. And
Done.
then after that, like all that he loved and all that he knew, literally, all that he knew was gone. So now it was just like, okay, back to the dude that kills.
But I liked
everyone.
his reaction though, because you could see, it wasn't the oh no, come on, no. It was more the like there was the Jason Bourne killer, not sure who he is, like this like soldier kind of like.
I just actually think it's his personality.
He literally looked like this lost child.
Yeah.
Like the way he just chucked the stuff, unemotional, because he's like soldier tough, but he's not sure who he is. So it's like.
I disagree. Do you want to know why I disagree, Ryan?
Why?
So I'm going to tell you something that's crazy, Ryan.
Because he was the only person that he met.
This?
No.
Are you ready for this? So I don't know if you've ever heard of you have, because I told you about it. But for the listeners, there's a thing called 16 personalities, right? So when you do the test, they'll tell you your personality, and then what they'll do is they'll tell you like famous people or like historic people who had the same personality as you. But sometimes what they do is they include characters from films, because obviously like the character is playing a certain personality.
Yeah.
I have the same personality as Jason Bourne.
Ooh.
Which is very weird.
Not Matt Damon, Jason Bourne,
Not
right?
Matt Damon, Jason Bourne, yeah. But now why I'm saying that is there, with my personality, there is a certain level.
I'm moving away from it. This is crazy.
Wow.
Jason Bourne or Jessica Bourne.
So with my personality, there's a certain level of lack of emotion to me.
Sorry for all our listeners, I was moving my chair.
Yeah, he was literally
Slowly
moving
but surely
from me.
away. Sorry, do continue.
So there's a certain level of lack of emotion to me, right? Even in like traumatic circumstances, like something happens and I almost go into freeze mode where I don't react immediately, and then like a few weeks later it hits me type of thing. So I don't even think it was the whole soldier element. I just think that was his personality. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like that, like I don't think I'd be that person that's like, please. I don't see myself doing that.
That's why he let her go in the water. Because he was just like, oh, she's dead.
No. Oh, it's not insensitive. He wasn't being insensitive. It's just there's a disconnect with his emotion. He's not emotionally inclined.
Exactly.
He's logically inclined.
Exactly. Yeah. And someone who was very emotional in that point would have done what they would have, even though
it didn't make sense.
Even though it didn't make sense to continue, someone under extreme a lot of emotion would have pulled that out and would have tried all they can, and that probably would have blown his cup because he ended up.
So he was being
makes sense. But still, I like the tough guy. I like it. It's really cool. And then he like just got really mean. And then everything happened after that. I was just like, this guy's the boss.
I must be honest, with this film, I enjoyed the first one. With this one, I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. And I kind of felt like they were just like tying up loose ends. So you know how like the first one left like a couple of things open?
Yeah.
But then I did find this out, and I was like, this is probably why I felt like that. So this film was made with no intention of making a third movie after this one. In fact, the final scene was meant to be the Bourne character, where he gets some closure and properly ends the series. And when it was when the Bourne Ultimatum, which was made in 2007, that's the third one, when that was greenlit, the writers had to write the story around this epilogue. And also the original ending actually changed. So the original ending of this one was he just goes to Neski's daughter and apologizes. And following previews which found the ending too bleak, the New York postscript scene where Bourne and Landy was shot. So in other words, the actual last scene now of the movie between Bourne and Landy, that they had to quickly shoot, and they shot it just weeks before the film's release in the summer of 2004.
Sure.
So that was like a quick hey Matt, can you quickly come in? We just need a day. We just need you to stand on a... Yeah, that was... But it makes sense why I felt like...
Have you seen the other ending?
Which other ending?
There's two endings.
There's two endings. What was the other ending?
Which ending did you see?
I saw the one where he's on the rooftop speaking to Landy and...
I watched the ending where he was in the hospital bed.
He's in a hospital bed. Oh, of course he was shot, man. What happened? Well, not shot. He was...
Pretty much what happened in your one.
Oh, he also phoned...
No, he didn't phone. She was there.
She was there.
Yeah.
Landy was there.
So what happened? Yes. So what happened? This was apparently the ending for cinemas in Germany. I don't know if it was specifically for there or that's where it was released. That ending. Don't know how, because you said they shot before, but he ended up. It looked like it was the end for him.
Oh,
lying in snow, then bleeding, just passing out, and then it fades out, then it fades back, and he's laying in a hospital bed, and there she is. And then
who's there?
The what's her name?
The chick from the
chick that's been trying to look for him and
Landy,
uncover
Pamela
everything.
Landy,
Yes, that's it. And then he's like, "What do you want?" Because everybody wants everything. And then she's eventually like, they talk, and then she opens the file and says, "Don't you really want to know who you are?" And then he says the name, and he's like, "Here's the file, everything that you want to know, there it is." She steps up, she walks out, and he's in a sort of like a prison hospital kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Keep him locked up. Why don't I just give him a few minutes?" And then, as she's walking past, the woman coming in with a tray to serve him food walks in, and as she walks in, he's gone. And they're like, "He's gone!" And there's a window open, and then the music plays, and then you see the shottage of New York and all of that stuff. So
in my ending, you literally have... So he phones her, but he's watching her through the window, and then she tries to like incentivize him to come in by telling him his real name and where he was born. And I think his
what was the name again?
I can't remember.
Was it with a D? What I feel like
I can't remember, honestly.
Damn it.
But then he puts the phone down.
Yes.
No, he tells her she looks tired.
That's it.
So then she knows that,
Yeah.
and then she dramatically turns around, looks out the window, and that's quite funny. I didn't know there were two endings.
Yeah.
Sure.
Pretty
But
crazy.
I personally, I'm looking forward to watching the third one because I feel like I do feel like it's gonna be better than the second one. The second one wasn't like terrible, but I just felt like it was almost like a plain landing movie. Does that make sense? Like, I honestly it didn't come across like there was going to be a third one when watching it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the only reason like we know that there's going to be a third one is obviously because it came out. David Webb.
Yeah.
There we go. Jason Bourne is actually David Webb. I actually found something...
I love the action in this film.
Yes. The action in this film was insane.
Yeah.
The car chase scene. I have never seen a car chase scene like that. It was so realistic.
Now, can I tell you something? Something else that I love about this film is that they use regular cars. Like usually there's this really hot Ford Mustang and this Porsche or this Lamborghini and this, but it's like very standard, like even the Jeep that they were in.
He was in a taxi.
You
Yeah.
check.
Yeah. Now I found this quite interesting. So I was doing research on because Jason Bourne, if you don't know, it's a franchise that's known for its action. It's got very, very, very good action in it. And it's actually inspired a lot of other Hollywood movies. However, so the first one by Doug Liman, if you watch it, the action has the usual Hollywood, especially not really now, before this film came out, whenever there was a fight scene, Hollywood would go for like very wide angles. There would almost be like a clarity. You could kind of see everything that was happening because it kind of showed off the mastery of the stunt coordinators or the actors themselves.
Right.
So you knew that like if an actor did action, they were like a proper action star because they were doing, and you could see it because obviously the like it was a wide shot, the camera wasn't really moving that much, like that was but Jason Bourne changed that, and there's a good element to it, but there's also been a bad element to it. But so just looking at, and it wasn't Doug that changed it. It was Mr. Paul Greengrass that changed it. So in a film, you have what's called average shot length, which is ASL. And basically that is how long a shot is on screen for before they cut to another shot, right? So in the first movie, The Bourne Identity, your average shot length was 4 seconds. So a shot would be on screen. This is obviously averaging it out throughout the whole film. It was 4 seconds long. In the Bourne Supremacy, which was the second film, the average shot length was 2.4 seconds. So that's basically half of what the first film was. And by the Bourne Ultimatum, there were 3,200 shots in 105 minutes.
Sure.
Which means that the average shot length was 2 seconds. So in other words, shots were only on screen for 2 seconds. That's very short. That's actually 1, 2, change. 1, 2, change. 1, 2, change. I mean, that is very short. Now, the reason that Mr. Paul Greengrass decided to do this is because he says when he wanted audiences not just to observe the film, but to experience the film. So even if you look at how he films it and stuff like that, you'll often cut to like a POV from Bourne's perspective, and you see he'll like, the camera will do a certain sequence where you actually as the audience pick up what Jason Bourne is observing and then picking up. So instead of just watching the movie and having them tell you, oh, he just saw a footprint, which means that, you know how normally, guys, I just found a footprint. Oh, the footprint looks silhouette, so it must have been for... That's observing a movie. Whereas with this, you're more experiencing it with Bourne, and you're like figuring it out as he figures it out. So, but also with like the action sequences, he has a very like quick cutty, quick. It's very like choppy. That's the right term. Style to him.
Quick pace.
And even in the editing, so when they edited this film, they actually edited it in a way that our consciousness and sensory perception works. So how we gather bits of information to create a larger picture is actually how they edited this film. So they didn't just edit it like a usual film would be edited. They edited it in such a way that it almost speaks to our sensory perception. And then if you look at his action sequences, because his action sequences is what has really impacted a lot of films nowadays. It looks very choppy and chaotic, but if you look closely enough, you'll actually see that everything that he's pointing out serves a purpose. So I was watching, there was this one video where it's one of the later films, but he's riding a bike and he looks, and then it's a POV of like him just looking different places. But then what they actually did was they stopped it and said, here he looks and he sees there's no way out there. There he looks and he sees something, and then there he looks and he sees an opening to get out. So in a way, at first you would just think they were trying to make it all chaotic and you know like, but it actually wasn't. They were actually just showing you how in that moment what he was actually thinking as a character in terms of getting out. So after this film came out, Hollywood adopted Grasswood's style because fast-paced editing makes it easy to use visual trickery to turn anyone into an action star, which is so true. How many times have you watched a fight scene and the camera is moving so much you actually don't know who's winning?
You don't know what they're doing.
You just hear...
Or where they're going.
And you don't know what's happening until like then. And that's a big problem with action in Hollywood today. And it sort of was picked up from this style of action. However, what the difference is in other films, so like Taken's a very good example actually of this. In a film like Taken, every cut is usually there to hide something. So they'll cut it just before the impact. So you'll see the guy throw his fist, and just before it hits his face, it cuts to him. So you actually miss the action. They're hiding it.
Yeah.
But now that's not what Greengrass did in Bourne. Instead, if you watch a Jason Bourne movie, every impact is delivered in front of the camera. That's why it's so intense. That's why you're like watching it and you're like, because you actually do see the impact. So he's not doing it to hide stuff. Instead, what he's aiming for is intensity. So the reason he has so many shaking cameras and like fast-paced cuts, and it's not to hide anything. He's actually just sacrificing clarity for intensity, which adds up with him wanting the audience to experience it and not observe it. So with his style, he got it right. The problem is then other directors went, watched it, tried to replicate his style, but they just used it as a method to basically hide out, someone who actually can't fight or doesn't have any like action, whatever skills. And then could turn like any actor now into an action star. But one thing that he does do is he'll actually keep, if you watch his fight scenes, there's very close-up shots, but he'll keep jumping to a wide and then he jumps back. So you, as an audience, you're not disorientated.
Follow with their movement.
Yes, you can make out exactly what is happening. Even though it's very crazy, you can still actually, you never get lost in like a fight scene, which a lot of action movies, you do get lost in fight scenes.
Yeah.
Eventually,
well,
you're just like...
I was going to say, I hate it when fight scenes, it's just... You're like, and then he's on the ground with a bloody nose, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, you have to wait till the end to find out who won. You're just like waiting, and you're like, oh, flip, he won. No!
You just know that there's punches flying. And, I mean, I would imagine that if I was someone who choreographed a fight scene, and I watched something like that... I'd be offended, like, hey, Mr. Director, sorry, can I just check with you? So I don't know if you notice, I do this cool like thing over here, and I've noticed that you missed it.
Can we just stop moving the camera?
Is there reason for it? Because I wanted to see that he tripped him, and then he hit him in the head. That's why he's dizzy. And then, when I started watching, when we started, like, specifically when we do older films, then the camera's a bit more back. You kind of get a sense of, okay, no, he's coming through the door. He gets hit from the back. He falls forward, almost pushing his head through the window. Then he launches back at the guy. Then they punch. Then they move over there, and then the fight. And then it's getting more chaotic because now it's in the bigger office, and where it's just.
You see now, the Bourne franchise is to blame for that, but I'm not saying that in a bad way. So it works with the Bourne Bourne franchise.
It's what other directors wanted.
The problem was other people went and took his style and did it wrong. So that's the problem. He did it right. He introduced something that actually wasn't known to. So nowadays, watching it, we're used to it because, I mean, a lot of people have adopted that style when choreographing or editing or whatever, filming fight scenes or action films. Like we're pretty used to it now. But like you said, if you go back to older movies, that wasn't the case. So he was kind of like the cause for that, but he did it right. The problem is other people have come along and picked up that style, but they broke it. Yes, they've used it for hiding impact, and that's not what it was meant for. It was meant to increase to create intensity. Yeah. So I must be honest though, I was so when I first watched it, I was like, sure, this is very intense, which is exactly what he was going for, I suppose. So now, knowing that now, I'm like, okay, fine. I thought it was more just a stylistic choice for that time, because I don't know, like in the early 2000s, like that, the style was pretty. It was pretty like well known at that time. Like the cuts and the flashes and the like everything going crazy. So in my mind, I was like, I'm looking forward to seeing the more modern ones, just to see like that die down a bit. But now it might not die down a bit because obviously Paul Greengrass was the director for the rest of them. So but I am interested to see how he did it in a more modern way, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing that is cool about the Bourne series is, unlike James Bond and even Mission Impossible, all of the weapons that Jason Bourne uses actually exist.
Where did he get the stuff from?
Which stuff?
Like, suddenly he's got some cool gadgets and stuff like that.
Which those things.
Yeah.
But they must exist because like.
I know, but they just suddenly came out. Like suddenly he's unlocking cars, he's jamming.
But he did
like,
have that in the first
car
one.
alarms.
Because remember at the end of the first one, when he was going to the what's that guy's name? I've got the character's name. But he still set all of the car alarms
But where?
off.
Yeah.
He was going to Ward Abbott's.
I'm still wondering at what point I was just like, wait.
Wasn't it in that? Because in the first one he had the safety deposit box, and there was a whole lot
I
of
just
stuff.
saw cash.
And there was other stuff in
Passports.
there. There was passports, cash, and
Documents.
guns and other stuff. It was like because he still kept the red bag with
He
him the whole
left the
time.
guns.
But remember, he is a super well trained like assassin / spy. So like he would know technology.
Maybe
It's part of his training.
So maybe he created his own gadgets.
Yeah, there we go. But like, there's no like, you know how in I don't know in there's like funny little like gadgets that they create for James Bond and even for Ethan Hunt. Like this is a pen, but it actually is a
dot.
I don't know what
Poison
else.
dot.
Whereas with Jason Bourne, he literally will pick up an actual pen, as in there's nothing else to it. It's a pen, people. Or he picked up the newspaper, or yeah. And then, funny piece of trivia: Jason Bourne does not smile once in this film.
No, he doesn't.
The only time you see him smiling is in that photograph. That's it. Otherwise, he doesn't smile
And
once.
he burnt it.
No, he didn't burn it.
Did he burn it?
No, I didn't.
I'm trying
he
to
didn't,
think.
No, he didn't burn the photo.
He picked it up, he looked at it.
And then...
And I remember. And also in this film, like, he hardly talks.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, hardly.
Yeah, it's true.
So he had the less lines. At least he could focus on his
action. The action was intense though, and he does very well. Matt Damon does very, very well.
Awesome.
Because remember, before this, he hadn't really done an action film. This was kind of like his big break into like the whole action genre. So, yeah.
Which was very good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed.
So the next one came out in 2007, which is 3 years
So it's
after
been
this one came out.
It was a 2-year gap and then a 3-year gap.
Yeah. Which they obviously didn't expect to come out. So, yeah. I actually want to see what other films came out in 2007, just so that we can get like a bearing on like style. And Spider-Man 3 came out in 2007.
Oh, there you go.
Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End came out in 2007. The Kingdom I haven't watched. 2007 sci-fi movies. Fantastic Four came out in 2007. Transformers Run came out. 2007 was a cool year, man.
2007.
I Am Legend came out in 2007. Oh, remember Death Proof by Quentin Tarantino?
Oh,
That came out in
yes.
2007.
2007 was a good year.
It was a good year.
So the next one is the Bourne
Ultimatum.
And still directed by Greengrass. Did he direct the rest of them?
I think he did direct the rest of them.
All right, so we're on a good start here.
So, yeah. Sorry, Doug. Doug was kicked out of his role.
Did other great films.
He did do other great films.
Exactly.
If he only did Edge of Tomorrow, I would still say he's a good director. Like,
you go.
literally, if that was the only film on his list, I'd still be like, good job! One hit wonder. Like, that was amazing. Yeah. Yeah. So, for me, in opinion, the first one does rank slightly higher for me than this one. But I think it's also because the story... I think I'm very story-driven.
It does build
and
more story.
Yeah.
Every year you just get cracking straight away.
Yeah.
Pa, 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 pa.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to watch the first one to watch the second one.
You would probably have enjoyed the action with this one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You see the assassin Jason Bourne come out in this one.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, that's
I suppose
cool.
it's an important thing for character development as well, because like as in the franchise as a whole, then it's you've started the story, you've now gone deeper into that character of this is who he is,
Exactly.
how he works, etc. And now we can continue. Yeah. So next week we shall continue with the Bourne franchise.
The grass will be green on
The
the
grass
other
will
side.
be green on the other side. Yeah. So until next week.
Cheers.